Easy E. Once again, I have no intro in front of me. I'm not too sure where we're going with this one, but last year we had the Fantastic Four tell their stories, and you insisted that this year was going to be bigger, badder, bolder, better with the Incredibles. So what do we have this week on the podcast on the road to Dublin 2026?
This week is a special week. Do you know why? The Fantastic Four were giving me shit all week, Sean, because I have put in effort this year. So I'm going to start by saying these are a better four athletes than last year. That's why they're called the Incredibles. I'm going to get more abuse on that one.
Yeah.
But we are back. It is the road to Dublin. I'm back in the country. We've loads of sponsors coming on board. We are feeling the hype. And Sean, we have four new fantastic athletes. They won't call themselves athletes, but we're calling them athletes who are going to guide us all the way to the start of the Dublin Marathon 2026.
Well, if one thing me and you do well, Eric, is set the bar pretty low. So we got four fresh faces in front of us. Bar set pretty high.
He's not talking about you're not talking about them, John.
I'm talking about you setting the bar pretty low. You're not even running these days. I'm barely running these days. Anything better than us two to talk about our marathon journeys in the podcast or lack thereof. So, eeny, meeny, money, mo.
Now,
Danny, we go to you.
Danny. Did you pick Danny as well?
I picked Danny.
Danny. Great minds think
Danny,
alike.
both went straight to you. What got you into running?
Initially, probably the biggest thing was probably my weight. I wanted to try and reduce my weight. I was always kind of heavier guy, but there came a stage where I was like, right, I've finished playing kind of GA, explored those avenues, and probably was very moderate at any of the sports I played, and I just said, oh, maybe I'll have a crack at running. And that started like a lot of people would, like park runs, just after COVID, I'd say. And from there, I've just kind of extended the distances, tried to challenge myself, doing 5Ks, 10Ks, halves, bit of an ultra, tried to do an ultra and a full marathon last year. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Danny, I want to touch into your story as well, because I've been that of being a bigger person, leaving sports, being a bigger person, getting into running. Everybody who looks at you now goes, Danny's a runner, Danny's been running since post-COVID. But I want you to go back to that time when you were trying to make a lifestyle change, because it is a lifestyle change and running for your health. How difficult is it? Because now a lot of people who are taking on a marathon program are told, don't lose weight, don't do this, don't do that. But when you're a bigger person and you're probably living an unhealthier or not kind of tracking diet, for me, and I'm going to speak for myself, and it was the beers and the garlic cheesy chips and all of those fun things. But what was it like to transition into this lifestyle? Because running, obviously, we can tell you really enjoy now, but starting out probably wasn't so easy.
Yeah, like no one looks at me and says I'm a runner. So, and no one's like, geez, but people that I meet over the years are saying, geez, you've lost weight, what are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. Transitioning to running was probably, I made it as hard as it could be, because when you start off running, you're focused on times, and especially with the 5K, like you just go into that pain cave where you try to run as hard as you can every 5K, and then you're comparing yourself each week, and you're doing one run a week, but like the penny does drop eventually that like you need to put a bit of work in behind. And yeah, it's great when you meet people and they're like, wondering about the running, how's the running going, and it's a good feeling, so that's kind of what drives you on, and just in general, just being a bit fitter, healthier, and like understanding my nutrition. Even like talking to Sean there about our nutrition when we were doing the VO2 max test, and it's endless. Like you're learning every day,
When you're looking at, obviously you've mentioned a bit of an ultra. I want to ask you about that. I did a bit of a marathon in Barcelona, but I'm still getting abused over it. I only did 19K. What's a bit of an ultra?
Well, I got to the ultra distance. It was a backyard ultra in April, which I thought I was going into it and I thought I was fit. And then I just rocked up beside all these other absolute animals. And I was looking at them like going around, and I did 7 laps. So that took me over the marathon distance, technically into ultra distance, but I wouldn't consider myself an ultra runner. But it's fun because I did it with Imra, and it was just such a great kind of day out. I was there for 7 hours of the day. There was lads that stayed there a few days, but it was cool.
Danny, was that the one in Elevation?
No, it was in Galway. It was the Backyard Ultra in Galway.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Fair play. No,
So,
it takes a lot of when you get back in 10 minutes to go back out again and
oh,
keep going. Like 7 hours can drag when you only got 10 minutes to eat food and go again.
yeah, yeah. And Arsenal lost the Champions League. So.
You had a lot on your mind. Danny, couldn't have
Different
happened to
kind
a
of pain
nicer
cave.
bloke. Danny, what drove you to say, do you know, I want to come on, I want to be part of the Incredibles. Eric's got loads of stuff lined up just to spite last year's group. What inspired you to reach out to us and say, I want to be on the podcast and I want to give this a go?
I just thought, like, if I could, like, so running gives me like this great lifestyle that I can have, like do you know, the amount of joy it brings to me, I couldn't explain it, like, do you know. So I just said, geez, if I could inspire one other person in my shoes, like, just to get out there and start doing a park run or start doing something, if that's all that came out of this, I'd be delighted. If that's all that came out of my running career, that I inspired one person just to get out there and get going, I'd be delighted.
So, Danny, you've come through the VO2 Max with Sean, as have the rest of our athletes. You've said you've learned a lot about that. And I want to talk about the foundation of your plan and what the next 16 weeks looks like for you. What is the plan? What have you learned from your VO2 Max test?
So I'm fitter than I thought, which is great. And I felt like I could have went on another minute on the treadmill maybe, but Sean was like, oh, look, everyone says that when they get off it, you know, that's like, everyone says it. So I was like, right, fair enough. I didn't feel too bad. But basically the biggest takeaway probably from it was, he was like, you need to eat more food. And sure, that's music to my ears. Like this, he was like doing the metabolic test, and he was like, man, do you know how many calories you should be eating a day? And I was guessing, I was like, between 2,000 and 3,000. He was like, yeah, and you can add another 1,000 onto that. So I was like,
Wow.
he was like, get the spuds, get the pasta, get it into it. So like, it isn't an achievable goal really to be trying to be losing weight during a marathon prep, because it's basically, like Sean explained to me, it's like fueling a car, you know. He said, you have a big engine, you need to be fueling it properly. And yeah, so I was real happy. Well, I was delighted with that coming off the treadmill. I was like,
Can I touch on that a small bit? Because you've lost a substantial amount of weight through running, and when you get told to eat food again, does a part of you go, have you bought in totally mentally into that? Because I could say I've bought into fueling and stuff like that, and I put on a small bit of timber around the waist. I'm like, yeah, but I'd
Yeah,
really
you
like to
have.
lose that again. And thanks, Eric. Cheers, mate. But a part of me will go, I'll get into that. I'm vain as they come. I'd like to lose a couple of pounds off that. And, I'll feel when the run goes on, but I'll try and be conscious of it afterwards. Does that ever creep in for you because of how much you've been on this journey to lose weight? Or what is your mentality about that?
yeah, well, I kind of tried to do that for a while. I tried to run and be in like a calorie deficit. My God, it's miserable. Like,
Yes.
like it's, yeah, no, it's hard to explain. It's like dragging yourself out the door for a run. So to compare that to where I am now, look, I don't mind even if I put on a couple of kilos during a marathon prep. If I feel better while running, that's probably the biggest reward for me, I suppose.
Brilliant. And Danny, we're going to get back to you on your marathon and stuff you've done before. Well, I want to work my way around the room before I get back to you and what you've done and what your goal is for Dublin. A lot of people have different goals for Dublin. A lot of people are trying hard to get into the Dublin Marathon because of the ballot system and stuff like that. And bearing in mind, I do have your answers in front of you.
And the
fiver, Eric's still all over that fiver on that one. He could have went towards his chicken and rice. Chloe, why did you enter the ballot?
I kind of entered it for a bit of a laugh.
I'm not laughing, Chloe.
I seen my mum and dad complete the Dublin Marathon 2025, and seeing them come around the last corner at like the 100 meters, stand there waiting for them, and they looked as fresh. So I was like, that's easy. I could do that. Then my mum and dad entered, and I was like, oh, sure, look, I'll enter. Never ran a day in my life. I was like, we'll get there. Probably won't get it. So I entered. About 2 or 3 weeks later, my mum and dad got their rejection emails. They didn't
No.
get through the ballot. I hadn't got my rejection email, and
No.
it sank in then. I was like, I have it. So then
Did they feed you after that? I wouldn't.
Because Eric got tick with me when he got his rejection.
I
He
wouldn't
goes,
talk to him for
he was
2
like,
days, Chloe.
yeah. They literally
They
got
were-
text, F you, you're going to get your ticket now the next day. So what
We'll
was
Yeah.
the folks like?
Send them
They
pictures of
were-
Molotov cocktails and everything. I wouldn't talk to them.
they were raging. But they were like, sure, look, you have to do it now. And that was kind of the start of it. Then I got my exception email, and I was like, okay. Then the payment came out, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
that's
it's real
another
now.
step. It's real now. And then I started running probably early November. Because I was like, I'm going to try get to a 5K before January. And then in early December, I cracked my kneecap. So I got up to 4K before that happened. I cracked my kneecap and tore 4 ligaments in my leg early December. So
Your
that put me
parents
in.
would do anything for a transfer of name for this marathon, wouldn't they?
I know.
How did they do it?
I know.
How did they do it
Um,
and get away with it? That's what I want to know.
I know. Jealous now. But yeah, so I cracked my kneecap and started running then in March, and I thought there's not a hope I'm getting there. I joined then a running club in Tala, called the Positive Pacers. My mum and dad were with them last year, and they helped them get to the finish line of the marathon. And look as great as they did when they got to that finish line. So I said, sure, look, we'll give it a go. I joined Positive Pacers in March. Started running with them then for 5Ks, very, very slow. And yeah, the reality then sank in only recently. I think that, okay, I'm up in my Ks now. I have to start running and putting the kilometres in now.
So, Chloe, you've done probably one step that people don't do, and that's where credit is. But and it's what we say when we talk about podcasts every week and guests every week is, if you can see, you can be. So obviously, seeing your parents, you've got a great influence there. They've gone and joined the club. You had the confidence to join the club, but you've put yourself around people who can build that confidence. As we're looking at week one, because obviously now you've had to rebuild from March, and we've also done it was your first time on a treadmill to do your VO2 max test, which was a great experience
So
for all of
scary.
us. I wasn't sweating at all. Chloe, how good does it feel to know there's so many people around you in the club? Are you confident with what they're doing to get you from now up until the marathon day? Because it's unknown territory for you. A half marathon is probably going to be unknown for you up until maybe
Yeah.
September, August time, is it?
Yeah, so I applied for the Galway half marathon. So I didn't get the race series because I was too late for it. So the Dublin race series, I didn't get that. So I said I have to do a half before I do a full. So I got the Galway half. We applied for there, but with huge support from the club. Like, it's like they're all like, you can do this, you'll do Delhi, you'll get there. And with that mindset, and then people kind of encouraging you and keeping you going, making sure you turn up for the club runs, like being like, where are you? You're coming tonight. Like, that kind of keeps you on track. Because without them, like without my mum and dad, like they get me up, they get me, right, you're coming running, get your clothes on, get your runners on, you're coming. Without them, I wouldn't have had the motivation myself to get there. I'd be like, it's grand, I'll get there. But yeah, so the club has been a huge impact on me. Like, there's such a great bunch of people that just keep you going as well. Like, and you always have someone to talk to. I feel like running with someone alongside someone, it makes it a lot easier. You're not in your own head, like.
And Chloe, we will get back to you in terms of you did the women's mini marathon and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's great you've started with Positive Pacers. But Dee, on that note, with running clubs and getting back into running, taking running seriously, I want to get into why you started to take running seriously. Most runners don't have a training problem; they have a guessing problem.
If you've never had your VO2 max or metabolism measured, there's a good chance you're training at the wrong intensity, missing valuable adaptations, or getting your race nutrition wrong.
Or running it all, Eric. Health Matters replaces guesswork with data. With over 15 years of experience and more than 25,000 performance tests completed, they're one of Europe's most experienced performance testing providers.
In a single test, you'll discover your true VO2 max, peak heart rate, your 5 personalized training zones, your aerobic and anaerobic thresholds, and your carbohydrate requirements for training and racing.
Your results are available immediately and are explained in full on the day, so you'll leave knowing exactly how to train, how to pace, how to fuel for your next event.
Health Matters are based in Dublin, welcoming clients from across Ireland every week. They also provide on-site testing for running clubs, corporate wellbeing programs and groups nationwide. You can find out more or book your test at myhealthmatters.ie because your health matters, so train with data so you can race with confidence.
So I started running 4 years ago, but I would have actually ran maybe 20 years ago. So I would have done lots of halves and 10Ks and stuff like that. And then I kind of got back into it 4 years ago when my second child was born. So when he was 4 months old, so both of my kids were reflux babies. I don't know if you know what that is, but they had milk allergies and they were really difficult babies. I hate saying that, but they just cried and screamed and they never settled. So I'd say between both of them, they were like a full year before they settled. So when my second child, Evan, when he was 4 months old, I just said, look, I have to do something because I was just going mad. I was very depressed. I was anxious. I just didn't even know who I was anymore, that kind of way. And then I'd moved up to where my husband lives now in the Midlands. Like I'm originally from Clare, so I didn't know anybody either. And I was living in the country. So I just have to do something about this. So I joined a local boot camp called Cuckoo Hill. It's a running boot camp and it's all like outdoor trails and things like that. And that's where I started. And then I went from there and I just said to your man one of the days, Tommy's his name, that I want to train for a marathon. He thought I was mad because I could barely run 4K at this stage. And I did, the following year I did my first ever marathon. And I've done 3 now since. This year will be my 4th. And then at the start of this year, I joined a running club at Lone AC. So I haven't looked back since, I have to say now. They're amazing. Such a supportive bunch. And I've done a good few races with them. That's where I am now. And I have a big goal. I don't even want to say it out loud, but I obviously have a big goal this year. I think last year I did Dublin Marathon in 3:10. So this year I'm going for the sub 3. So we shall see. 16 weeks, but yeah. At the moment it's very unrealistic, but that's not to say it won't happen. It will happen. It may not happen in 16 weeks, but it'll happen someday, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
No pressure for the podcast to keep you honest
No
over your training
pressure.
as well.
Yeah.
Dee, I want to ask you a little bit about that because a lot of ladies, they will leave sport and they go after careers and they start their families and stuff. Taking that break and getting back into it, was it nervous to step back into it? Because I don't know what level you were running at in younger years, or did you
Not
just
a
go, I need to just get out, and that was enough. The crying was enough for me to go running. It'll be enough for me to go running.
Yeah. It was the headspace. It was the headspace. It was, if you can just imagine being locked up all day long with a screaming baby and there's no let up. I mean, especially when I'm not from the area either. And I've no family there. It's very isolating and you could just drive yourself mad. But it was just that getting outdoors without kids, no kids, just you and running, and just, it doesn't matter what problem you have when you come home, you're so much better. You're like, the problem is halved no matter what is going on. It's just, your head is so much freer. So that just saved me. I mean, I couldn't tell you like what it did for me. And that's the main reason I run. That's still the reason why I run. Like, my kids are still small, not as small. They don't scream anymore, thank God, and they do sleep. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah.
I remember the first time I moved out to Kildare and Like I was the same thing, just run, bit of headspace, and just kind of get to know the area a little bit and the roads and stuff. And because I live kind of in a little bit of nowhere, like you grow on next minute, like 2K down the road, and I'm on a massive main road, and cars are beating me off. I'm like, how the hell do I get on and off this? And just trying to figure a way around. And I bought a treadmill straight away. I was like, I can't go back out there again. But eventually got used to it. But it is mad how just the running just gives you that headspace and gets you used to a new area you move into.
Well, and I have to say, like where I live now, it's very much in the country, like, and I would have been used to running in the town before that. And now this is all country roads, and I think I know more places than my husband now, so like it's really, it's brilliant actually for discovered areas, but like it's really good. I actually prefer running in the country now, if I'm honest, compared to
Same.
town.
Same. I
Yeah,
just can't wear these
yeah.
tin
It's
cans
so
in my head
quiet.
as the cars are coming so close to me.
Yeah, yeah, I know, yeah. But I wear shocks now. You can still hear the road. You can still, yeah, yeah.
Dee, I'm going to ask
There you
because it's
go.
something you mentioned, and we almost didn't have you because the work-life balance can be an issue. You work a lot of nights,
Yes,
and that's going to be a big
yes,
factor, and it's sleep, rest, recovery, all a big part, especially when you have a goal like a sub 3. Not that everything has to be perfect, but you have to be actively working towards that goal. How are you going to manage that, and how do you currently manage that with training and kids and having
I
a
don't, if
big
I'm
running goal?
honest. I don't. It is like juggling balls in the air constantly, to be honest. I couldn't tell you like what day I'm doing X session. Someone might say, when do you do your speed session? I don't know. I have a coach, he gives me my plan, and I just do it when I can, sort of thing. Like I do days and nights in the 1 week. So we could be 13 or 12, 13-hour shifts. So like, I mean, I try and like we can self roster where like I'm a nurse, sorry, by the way. I work in the local ICU in my town. Um, but there's no Monday to Friday. It's over 7 days. So you can't just say like, you're going to do
Wednesdays or
this run on a
intervals,
Monday.
and
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just do it when I can. If it's after work, fine, I'll get it done. But there's days when I might have had a long 13-hour shift. It's been really, really busy, really stressful, and and I'm pretty consistent, but some days it's just I can't. I might finish at 9, half 9, and then by the time you get home it's 10. And you know yourself that it's the last thing you want to do is a run. But I'll fit
Yeah.
it in. I'll always fit it in somewhere. Like you'll make time, no matter how busy you are, you'll make time somewhere. Even if it's getting up earlier, going to bed later, you'll make it. You'll make it from somewhere. Yeah. So
I'm feeling lazy all of a sudden because I don't work
Yeah, I
12,
am.
13.
Uh,
Yeah,
Dee,
isn't it
we're
just?
just gonna boot you off the series. Actually,
Yeah.
my self-esteem just took a nosedive. I'm gonna move swiftly on to Francis. Francis, make me feel good about myself. Francis, why are you taking on the Dublin Marathon? How did you get into running?
So got into running probably around COVID, moved home kind of and got out running with one of the lads and kind of signed up for, I think it was Belfast Marathon in 2022 or something. That's kind of the start of it. Went straight to the marathon, didn't bother with a 10K or half or
Chloe,
anything.
pack that confidence in your suitcase. Francis didn't even do a
Yeah.
half. He just went straight for it.
It's definitely achievable now.
Now, and again, I know where this has come from because I saw him doing his VO2 max test. I thought I was going to have to kick him off it. I was going to have to trip him up, throw bottles at him or something. That Molotov cocktail I was threatening Sean, it was coming out. Francis, how do you take it on? And was your friend into running, or was this just well, I said I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it? Because I think it was that option, having seen you on the treadmill.
Eric, quick question for you. What is the one thing high rocks and triathletes, runners and gym goers all have in common?
They all like to take their clothes off to work out.
That's not what it's not.
Oh,
Just,
sorry.
that's-
I have the line. They're great at pushing themselves in training, but not always great at prioritizing recovery, Sean.
Excellent. You got it right second time. That is exactly why the Ultra Pure High Rocks Recovery Bundle is such a great addition to any training routine.
It's packed with 4 recovery essentials: Epsom salts for a post-workout soak, magnesium oil spray for tired muscles, muscle cramps and restless legs, Epsom salts gel with arnica for targeted support, and ice cold menthol gel, my favourite, for a refreshing cooling sensation after tough sessions.
You've been using that a lot lately anyway. So whether for your training, for your next High Rocks race, preparing for Trica, or putting in the miles for a running goal, recovery is just as important as the workout itself.
And the best part, you save 10% when you buy everything together in the bundle, so you're getting all your recovery essentials in one place.
So if you're serious about training consistently and feeling your best between sessions, this Ultra Pure bundle is definitely worth checking out.
Head over to ultrapurelabs.ie and check out this Ultra Pure High Rocks Recovery Bundle now. That's ultrapurelabs.ie. Train hard, recover smart, and get ready to go again tomorrow. By listening to this advert, you are, of course, supporting Irish businesses and this podcast. Now let's get back to the episode.
He'd done one before, and kind of coming out of COVID and everything, we thought it'd be a good idea kind of just to get out and get running. So we did the long runs every weekend and just said we'd sign up and gave it a go, and it kind of worked out all right for us.
Has sport been a big part of your life, Francis, before this? Or because like many people, and if you go back over the last 6 years, we started this podcast with a plan of 4 friends running a marathon, and we were going to Madrid, and then COVID stopped that. But then the world and its sister started running, and we became a moderately okay podcast. Well, were you doing sports before that, Francis, or
So
did running
I would have
become
played a
this
lot of sport
change?
underage when I was
Say
younger,
again?
kind of I would have played a lot of sport when I was younger, kind of football, rugby, all that. And then about 10 years ago, I did my cruciate the first time. The ACL ruptured that, got it reconstructed. And then about another 2 years after that, it went again. So kind of been out of sports since the cruciate. And then the marathon was the first thing I went at then after that.
How was it? Sorry, Sean's about to ask you all sorts
No,
about it.
no, you
it's
back
like-
that up, Francis. Your ACL went twice, and your first thing to do wasn't a 5K, 10K, was just a fucking marathon. And Belfast at that's supposed to be hilly. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. We signed up for the ultra then, the 80K 2 or 3 months later. So that was was horrendous. It was the worst experience ever.
Francis, I'm gonna
You don't like your
bring
knees, do you?
I'm gonna bring it
No,
back,
I don't know
Francis.
how they're still going.
How did you find that transition? Because being so involved in sport, and then when injury takes you away, you feel like you've been robbed of something. And you definitely feel like you've been robbed of when you're made go running. Because anyone who's done team sports hates running, for the most part. What was the transition like in the early days, especially with the mammoth? Like, I know it was COVID and we had a bit more time and everybody was running, so it was moderately fashionable and it was the only thing we really could do. But it's been a great catalyst. But what was it like starting out and transitioning into that?
It wasn't the worst kind of, because I had the mate there kind of for a lot of the runs, but he was doing shift work. So you're eventually on your own for a good lot of the runs. You didn't have that group dynamic, and it was different. Like, probably when I was coming back from the rehab first time, or the first time, you were kind of on your own doing the rehab, and that was kind of straight, and weren't seeing any real progress to get back onto the fields. That was really challenging. At least with the running, I could see that times were improving slowly every week and stuff. So there was a bit more positivity in it, kind of.
And taking on this challenge, and I know it's something you said, have you gotten involved with any running coaches, or are you running on your own? Are you part of any groups out there? Or
so what I was doing was I was going to use Run It, and I was doing that the last few weeks, kind of. I enjoyed that, but I've got in contact with Brian Swaby through this, and after doing the testing the last day and stuff, I just linked in with him, and we're going to make a plan kind of over the next 16 weeks, trying to implement what we did in the testing.
Francis, our sponsors are going to love the fact that we had him on the podcast on Monday and he already got another client. This is magic.
I know.
Listen,
I was listening to him
I'll give you
Monday.
that. I'll give you that 50 quid later, Francis. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no problem.
Fran, when you're looking at that, you're also doing this with a bit of a charity spin. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm doing it for Down Syndrome Ireland for the Mayo branch. So the main reason I kind of got into that was for our son Jack was born this year in February, and he's a great lad. He couldn't be prouder of him, but he's had a few challenges kind of along the way. He spent his first month in Galway for been monitored and tube fed and stuff. So he has Down syndrome and he's a heart condition. So when we got out of Galway, you're kind of trying to build him up, get him ready again. Then we were in Crumlin there beginning of June for surgery to repair holes in his heart, kind of. So getting out kind of running was a big help, kind of. When he's in ICU, you've only certain periods you can go into the ICU to see him and stuff. So kind of been tipping away at the running with that. And then just the support we were getting from the Mayo Down syndrome branch was second to none, kind of. Just the supports they offer. You can link in with parents that have gone through the same, but it's been valuable to us, kind of. And other stuff to do is language therapy and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of just giving back to them, kind of. And they're kind of supports that Jack will be getting for the years to come, and other kids that lean on this kind of charity.
As a family, it can be very difficult when those two things, and Dee has kind of alluded to the headspace element. Did it play a similar role for you over the last year? Because that's a difficult year for any family to come through.
Yeah.
But and it is that why you still have that run, because, and I'm gonna say it as bluntly as it is, and not because of your story, but myself and Sean said it watching you do the VO2 max. It was like, that man is running for something more than himself.
Yeah.
You just see it in you. You just refuse to give up, and
Mhm.
it is amazing. But for in terms of headspace and that running for something, is that your big driving factor?
Yeah, I think for that, kind of, because when we were in Crumlin, it was difficult enough because you kind of bring him down to the surgery room, you hand him over, you're getting kind of updates. But then when he goes into ICU, then you've only a couple of hours in the day you can see him. So there's long chunks you're kind of just sent back to the room and you're waiting to hear updates and when you can see him again. So the best thing we did was get out for a walk or a run, kind of, while you're waiting for the next block, you can go in and see him. So yeah, I find it kind of very valuable for the headspace, kind of.
Yeah, I can only imagine how
Yeah.
going through that and getting the headspace. So, my friends, we're going to come back to a little bit closer with your plans and stuff for it. But Danny, I want to go back to you and I want to talk about you did the Amsterdam Marathon last year. But before we get into that, the training method you put down, Norwegian Singles Training Method. What is
I
that?
thought it was a nightclub. Danny, when I read it, I thought this was a holiday of dreams. And what is it, Danny?
Well, I wasn't using it for Amsterdam, but I'm going to use it for Dublin. So that's my plan. So it's
what is it? How did you find out about this?
Yeah, it's all like, so I just came across it randomly on the internet one day, and like all of the stuff started to resonate with me. It's like 3 sub-threshold sessions a week, and
3?
then
3
but you're doing them.
sub-threshold.
Yeah,
Under.
sub-thresholds. And that's like the main point of the whole training, is that you need to be running on a sub-threshold or else you're not going to be able to do them. And then you can factor in as many days, easy days, as you want. You can run 7 days, which this guy, so I read a book, it's called The Norwegian Singles Method, and an English guy called James Copeland has written it, and he's basically a cyclist, and he used all his cycling experience and turned it into running experience, because apparently in the cycling world they do loads of sub-threshold work. And then he was like 41 and he ran his first marathon in London using this method in 2:25. So I was sold by then anyway.
Sign me up. That's a 2:15 for you, Danny. I'm just doing the maths here.
Danny, sub-threshold, that term I haven't heard before. So compare that to, I know you did your VO2 max that Eric brought up there. So your easy run to your sub-threshold, in terms of heart rate, how far is that off each other? Or RPE effort, how far is that off each other?
So like my easy runs are like 70% of my max heart rate. That's how I judge them.
Okay.
So that's like 130 something beats per minute. Trying to keep them. So like your easy stuff is really easy. And then to figure out so there's like, he explains it in the book, there's a kind of long-winded way you can figure out your threshold pace based on like the conditions outside, the elevation, all that. Or you can actually just get lactate tested. Neither of which I've done, but I need to. So I know kind of whereabouts I'm finishing every threshold session, being able to do another one. Basically, and so
Okay.
my heart rate is like kind of in the 160s when I'm doing my. So if it's over 165, I'm going too hard because I'm not going to be able to finish It's like a 3 by 10 minute sub threshold.
So Danny, my understanding, and I want to dive deeper because it's the first time I've heard it as well, but like the anaerobic system, aerobic system, and obviously you've done your VO2 max test to find out where, based on that test, where that kicks in. Is that roughly similar, or you
Yeah,
would have to go and do the
yeah,
the
no, it's
lactate?
you could use those markers, like that would be they'd be fine. They're probably a bit lower. Like my anaerobic threshold was like 150 something. So yeah, you'd probably be a bit lower, but I've ordered lactate machine, so I'm all in now. I bought the book.
Ah,
I'm gonna.
Jesus, Danny,
I,
I'm coming down. I'm coming down to do a documentary on you, pal. This
Yeah.
is going to be unbelievable. We could change the
well,
world. This could be. This would be the
the
moment
biggest
we could
takeaway.
sell books.
Sorry, Nick.
Go
the
on.
the the biggest takeaway from it was like how feasible it was to do for people who were like staying sound and not getting injured. And so like once I was reading about that, like there's a Let's Run thread, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Let's Run. It's like a geeky running website. Not that that's not where I came across it, but that's where all these like hardcore Norwegian singles lads
The
are.
truth.
Yeah.
Tell the truth,
Yeah.
Danny. Yeah.
But like if I've been getting injured and stuff, and just overdoing it and running faster than I should be. And if I could stay sound for 16 weeks, oh, that'd be the dream, like, you know.
How long are these sub threshold sessions? Like how long is you doing? You're doing 3 times a week. So how long are you running?
So like there's 90 minutes of quality work a week. So that's
Spread out over the 3.
correct. So they're like,
Okay.
so like they're 30 minutes or 24 minutes or 33 minutes, depending on. So there's different variations. There's like 3 by 10, 6 by 5 minutes, and then 4 by 6 minutes, and yeah. So
Danny,
there's
I need to see your training diary at the end of each week. This is a
This is why
revelation.
we do this, though. We have
This is
different
why we
stories,
do
different
it.
approaches.
It's definitely different stories. It's definitely, well, like we have done this over 6 years, and over those 6 years, we've heard of the 80-20 rule, we've heard of the this rule, we've heard of the that rule. I think the Norwegians are famous for another 400 or interval session as
4 by
well.
4.
4 by 4, and are winning everything in triathlon. So if you stick and sure, they're going well in the World Cup currently. If you stick Norwegian on something, Norwegian Any Given Run Day podcast, people will be listening to this like there's no tomorrow.
yeah.
But
All right, Haaland.
we'll get there. Danny, when you're going into uncharted waters, which it is, there's a book, there's a guideline, you have to figure this out with your own body as well. And obviously the aim of most people's training, we've kind of touched on it with you, and diet and calories and fueling, is to not get injured. It's the ability to be able to train tomorrow, which is the bit that I'm most attracted to about what you're doing, is leaving some in the tank, so because you can train tomorrow and the next day. Where do you get guidance from this, or is this trial error experiment, Danny 2026? What is the helpline? And I know you've mentioned forums and stuff, but have you any help in this, or is this just pure experiment?
Yeah, I would say it's pure experiment, only for there's like so many examples of people using it, and it's weird. It's like, you know, you never hear anything about it, and then you read about it once, and it starts popping up everywhere.
The algorithm found you.
Yeah, and as well as that, like just even like Spencer Matthews had a video up there the other day, and I was watching it, and then someone commented down below that they just run a 2:44 marathon using the Norwegian Singles Method, and then everyone was like, "What is that?" You know. So, but once you get into it, like there's so much help on Reddit as well. Like you can ask a question. Now, if you ask a stupid question on the Reddit thread, they'll shoot you down fairly quickly because they're like, "Read the book." But I've read the book now, so hopefully I won't have too many stupid questions.
I'm gonna have to read this book. But it is really, really interesting. But with that, Danny, are you able to set a goal on this marathon based off the methods, or Is it a let's see how it goes and let's set a time? Because they do say maybe you shouldn't put a time on it early doors, but will you wait and see how it's going in training?
Yeah, I'll probably know closer to the time, but I'd hope, like, my first marathon I did in Amsterdam in 3:34, and I was injured periodically throughout that. So if I can stay sound and keep the training consistent, I'm hoping to do under 3:30, 3:20, 3:30 kind of time.
Danny, final question before we move on that one. 3:34 Amsterdam Marathon, your first marathon, by all accounts, fantastic first marathon. 1 million there. Wish we had a time anywhere near that. Was that a successful marathon for you in terms of the time? And if it was, why change system? Just because the injuries?
Yeah, most likely. Like, so I always do this thing where I'll set the bar high. I'll tell everyone this is what I'm going to do, because like some people go like, oh yeah, no, I'll see how I get on. Like, no, I'll just go and tell everyone, and then the embarrassment will make me run further than I can anyway, or harder than I can, you know. So, like I paced Amsterdam wrong. I was like out too hot for the first, like, and I was going grand. I was like up until 35 kilometers. But then, like, the lack of consistent training at those last 5-6 kilometers, like, I went past the finish line. I didn't get any of the buzz. I was just like concentrating on not passing out, and I was like, so I'm like, that's my Dublin's going to be my redemption as well. Like, I'm going to get the marathon buzz hopefully coming over the line in Dublin.
Brilliant. Speaking of the buzz in Dublin, Chloe, you've experienced the buzz of Dublin earlier this year doing the women's mini marathon. Was that one of your first big races?
Yeah, so that was kind of a goal from when I started running in March. Like, I started running and I was like, okay, we'll book the VHI. A few of my friends are doing it, and they were like, we'll do it together. And I was like, yeah, perfect. I can walk, run, jog, whatever I was at that stage. I did do the Athletics Ireland 5K in the Phoenix Park before then. So I had that buzz of a race beforehand. Now, it wasn't as big, like, the Phoenix Park's kind of quiet and it was hard to run through the Phoenix Park. But the buzz at the VHI was definitely something else. Like, everyone lining the streets coming up to that finish line, like, it's a feeling that, like, I've never ever felt. Like, I was like, oh God, I can see it now. Get me there. It was so good. Like, I wanted a sub hour. But as I'm 21, I was out partying the night before, so
Don't tell me you
can't do
started
it.
that morning with chicken and rice from the night before now.
Me and you have a lot in common, Chloe.
So I was actually at Forbidden Fruit Festival the day before, and I didn't have that. Oh my God, I'm running tomorrow. So strolled in at the earliest hours of Sunday morning, woke up, couldn't eat, couldn't have an electrolyte, couldn't do anything. And Jodie, which is one of the girls out of the Positive Pacers, she rang me that morning. She was like, are you all ready? I was like, I currently have full face of makeup on me, but I will be there. So I got up, took my makeup off. Don't know how I got there. Got a bus. Felt so sick the whole way in, but we completed it. We got there, and I done it in 1 hour and 5 minutes. So I was buzzing with that because I didn't know
Considering
how I was
the
getting
night
through that.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. And then recently, since I've started upping my kilometers, I have got under that hour now, 10K. So I know it's achievable. And I was buzzing with that then. Like, last 2 weeks. Yeah, the last 2 weeks I've got that under the hour. So yeah, it's unreal. That
Chloe,
after race buzz, great.
they say in a marathon block or a training block, you should never change anything on race day. Where are we going the night before Dublin Marathon? That's what everyone's going to want to know.
We'd be heading somewhere out in town. There's no point in changing anything.
No, Chloe, change it.
Sorry, I'm not Chloe. It's
Once I complete it, that's the main thing.
it's great to see, because you're at the very start of your running journey, and we know from even listening to this conversation, a lot of people started this in COVID. You're in the next wave of a generation of runners who are seeing running clubs absolutely everywhere and getting involved and being able to go to 5Ks, 10Ks. And if
Yeah.
anyone here says they haven't gone out the night before and then took on a 5K the next day, they're lying to themselves, because me and Sean have both done that at the same day.
Not
Um,
recently. Not
Like, I wish I
recently,
just had that, "Oh, I'm running tomorrow. I shouldn't go out," but I just don't think it's hit me yet.
I'm telling you, as this block builds, it will hit you like a train. Chloe, when you're looking at your goals, because you said to me as we were about to strap a mask onto you and see you running on the treadmill for the first time, you were like, "I'd love to just complete this, Eric. That's my goal."
Yeah.
Um, do you feel the pressure from your mum and dad, or is this a case of, I'd love to get around, I'd love to enjoy the day, and how are you going to set up your training over the next couple of weeks?
So one thing my dad said to me was, because I done the 5 mile in Corker Park only recently, and I ran with my dad for that. But he said to me, doing the Dublin Marathon, make sure you take in all them kids on the side of the road. Like, he was like, enjoy the day itself. He was like, them kids inside the road, give them a high five. They'll give you that buzz. They'll keep you going. Look at all the signs. Like, there's some signs out there that you'll laugh and you'll be like, okay, let's get to the next one. But I don't really feel pressure off mum and dad. They're like, just once you get it done. So my goal is to make it to the finish line. Secretly, deep down, my mum and dad done their one in 4 hours and 30 minutes. I ideally want to beat that even by a second with age on my
Love
side.
it.
But yeah, so the next 16 weeks is just for me to start upping the kilometers, getting getting the legs moving and getting out for my long runs and my interval sessions. My interval sessions are probably my letdown at the moment. So I need to make my interval sessions every Thursday from here on in.
And we just listened to Danny talking about staying injury free, Chloe, and coming back from what is a serious enough injury. Do you feel a little bit of pressure, a little bit of nervousness on it, or are you confident enough that you'll be able to get through this one?
Like, I'm confident enough with the help of Dara and stuff, like guiding me, that I'm not pushing myself, not going out too fast. Like, he's closely watching what I'm doing, and if I have any questions, he's there to answer and help. Like, if I know I need to pull it back a little bit, he's like, okay, pull it back. So I have that support around me, that I'm hoping that with his plan and getting me there, that it will definitely help me to prevent injuries.
We just touched there on intervals and stuff like that. Dee, I want to throw it back to you, because recently I'm going out my runs, and I'm running with a girl, Roisin. She's absolutely killing me on runs. We're trying to like do progressive runs, like going from 5:30 to 5:20, 5:10, 5. I get a kilometer 4:50, and she starts going 4:40 and beyond, and I can't hold it. Like, I'll hold 4:30 for like maybe half a kilometer, and then I'm dropping back down to below 5, and I'm like, Sean, when I did my PB last year, I was holding a 5 minute pace for pretty much the whole thing. You did a 3 hour 10 well beyond. I don't even know what that distance is. I don't even look at what the 3 hour 10 would take in terms of pace. When you're starting to run back now, do you feel like you could hit anywhere near that pace? And how do you feel about trying to get back towards that, to get even further towards a 3 hour?
Yeah, I'd say if I don't know, I could be wrong, but if I went out to run a marathon now, I'd be pretty close to what I did last week, maybe even
Brilliant.
3:15. So
Okay.
I hope so. And like, if you ever look at your Garmin watch now, I don't believe in Strava, but I always find the marathon prediction time is fairly on the ball. Like the last 3 years I've ran, it has been within a minute, the prediction.
Okay.
So it's telling me now, like, that I'm like 3:12, 3:13. So like, maybe I'm like, I'd say I could hold it now. But look, time will tell. But like, I have been doing long runs. I mean, the whole, like, all along. It's like, I suppose, not as long as like you need for Dublin, but the like 20, 25K sort of thing. So I'm used to that kind of long distance.
You must have been pretty consistent then since Dublin last year, getting a few races in since
Yeah,
then. Okay.
yeah. One thing I am is consistent. Unless I've been sick or the kids are sick or work has got in the way, that's my biggest thing. Like, I'm consistent. I may not be motivated, but I'm consistent. Yeah.
It's one thing me and
So
Sean definitely can't relate with. But having a
Can't spell
strong
it.
base for confidence because usually I'm like, oh, 16 weeks to a marathon. I'll start training next week. Next week turns into 4 weeks to a marathon. Um, but to have a strong base, and I know there are only metrics on a watch as a guide based on your recent training, but obviously with the consistency, it's more accurate. But to start now with a strong base in good health and be like, okay, to be at this now, because to mentally, because always with me is like, how did I run 42K at this pace? I always have that when I'm starting again. But to be at that now, going, well, I know I have last year's pace and pushing on. How does that make
I
you
hope
feel
I
in terms
have.
of confidence?
Like, I really hope I have now. I could be wrong, but I always think when it comes to the day, it'll all come. Like, you think you won't be able to hold X pace for for the full. I like, even in training runs, and you're stopping every couple of kilometers, and I'm like, how on earth am I going to do this pace for 42.2 kilometers? But actually, it all comes together in the day. It always does. So just trust your training. That's all I can say. And if you have been consistent, you have that confidence that, you should be able, once the fueling is right, like, it can all go wrong obviously in the day, but like, once you do your best to have your training, your fueling, all of those things, like, that's what you can control. You obviously can't control the weather or if anything happens before that, but like, definitely if you have that, I think you're away with it. Yeah.
Control the controllables, as they say. And
Yeah.
Francis,
Yeah.
your knees, two ACLs gone, yet somehow you have a 314 under your belt.
Yeah, 314, 315. Yeah.
Are they the plastic knees, Francis? Did you put a few carbons in them legs?
Oh, I could do with something. Get me around. No, going to try to give it a go anyway and get through it. The knees will hold up hopefully, and we'll get around Dublin on the day.
And how's the training going now, Francis? How have you been kept consistent since your last marathon? Like, do you feel like you're close to a 313, 314, or?
No, I don't think so. No, not yet. Anyway,
Finally relatable
So,
again,
I've
Fran.
been
How does it
tipping
feel
away.
to be slow again? Huh?
I know, yeah. I've been tipping away kind of at it and doing a run here and there, kind of. And the last 4 or 5 weeks, I've been kind of building up slowly. So these next 16 weeks now are vital.
Have you got, because obviously there's an element, particularly when there's a charity involved, and the race becomes more than yourself. That goal is no different to Chloe's. It's to get around and finish. There's
Yeah.
nothing worse when we put you in a podcast, you raise loads of money and do what I did in
Yeah.
Barcelona and go back to the hotel after 19 kilometers.
Yeah.
But Fran, what is your goal? Are you going to chase a time for yourself, because you are
Yeah,
competitive?
I'm still going to try to get 310 or in around that. I think it's kind of everything has to go right, but I think it's still feasible to get that or maybe under. I don't know.
So if we start UND in roughly the same waves, could we send you sub 3?
Oh, I don't know. Not yet. Maybe
Jesus,
next
man.
marathon.
I've seen how competitive this man is on a treadmill with a mask
What
on.
What
I think you'll do
pressure
it.
when we start the starting line, when all the things you've built in place, get your VO2 max and all, then throw it all out the window. Hang on to Dee's coattails. Hope she's built towards a sub 3 with her 27 hours a day working and all the rest. No pressure on either of them.
No.
Then Danny comes with his
very good.
Norwegian flag coming in, and Chloe with the 2 fingers up with her parents coming in at 4:29. You're setting this up for a hell of a 16 weeks coming up.
This is a great group. John, I really hope last year's are listening. I'm having way more fun this year. Way more fun already. It is really good. And I suppose when we look at these next couple of weeks, and it's really cool that you guys have coming on to share your story. Have you got any tips and tricks that people have given you that you're starting with? And the reason I want to ask this is, when we do the review episode and we fast forward and we have the how did that go? How's Norway, Danny? And did it work? Those kind of things. Have you got any guidance for people who are going to follow along with your journey? And I'm going to start with you again, Danny, on this one. Or any tips and tricks for people who are maybe struggling for a bit of motivation, who are going to be listening along and joining in with your journey?
I just say join a club and you'll find people. Like, I'm a part of Grange for Moy. I'm a Galway man living in Cork, which is a good week to meet me. But I've been running with Grange for Moy since I've been down here now the past few years, and you meet so many more like-minded people. And like someone said to me before, like start running with people that are slightly quicker than you. And just like, you know, a bit like hanging on to their coattails a bit, but just like when you need to do that harder session and you need a bit of help, like there's nothing like running with people that are just that few strides quicker than you. So that'd be my biggest tip. I'd say, like, join a club, get around people that are like-minded, and you'll find your group and your paces. And yeah, I think that's the best advice for anyone trying to face into the marathon.
Chloe, where would you recommend for refreshments before a run? You know, is there a particular place you'd recommend we contact for an L freebie off them? We'll use the 16 weeks. And Chloe, you're surrounded by advice. You're surrounded by two good parents and a good club as well. But there are 50% of this marathon taking on their first marathon as well. A lot of people are going to show interest in your journey because they're going to share in it. Is there anything you can say to others who are maybe like, maybe I'm not going to do this marathon, or maybe this isn't for me, or maybe it was a bad idea?
Yeah. Well, I'd say, like, if you got a ticket, it was someone telling you that you have to do it, and you're going to do it, and you're well capable of doing it. One thing I'd say, and I'd agree with Danny, is that never go out on your own. It's so hard to find that motivation, and so hard to just do it on your own. So having that club and support is actually unbelievable. And I think that'd be the reason that I'm going to get there. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm excited.
D, vice versa. You probably do a lot of training on your own, or maybe you don't. Maybe the club pick you up, but depending on your schedule. Like me, I train a lot on my own. A lot of time, I actually find it weird when I run with people because they start talking to me, and I'm like, "Who's this? What's this all about?" What's your
So
tip?
true. I always run on my own. I actually do all my running on my own except the intervals with the club. But actually, now that you said that, one of the girls from the club wants me to run with her on Saturday for our long run, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never like ever done a long run with anybody, only myself." So it'll be weird because we'll have to talk, and I'll be like, "I can't talk." Yeah, but no, I normally, yeah, it's always on my own. But if I could say anything to anyone like in their training for the next couple of weeks is, you know, like it's all exciting now. Like you have your plan for Dublin, you're doing Dublin Marathon, but you know, there will come a time where it's going to get hard. You know, like when the mileage is high and the long runs are long. Just remember that is actually the hardest part, believe it or not. Like when you get to like the Dublin is the easy part, you know, because you've tapered and everything. That's my opinion now, but I think that the training, like towards the end, like I think some people fall off the wagon, you know, and they're like, "Oh, I can't do this. I'm sick of this." But actually, just keep going, and that is actually the hardest part because you're always running on tired legs, aren't you? Training. So when the day actually comes, it'll be so much easier. Yeah.
And Francis, for yourself, managing everything you have at home and similar to D, headspace is the big one. Have you any tips and tricks for people as they take on the next 16 weeks? How are people going to motivate themselves to get out and actually start now and stick to a plan as best they can?
Kind of like what you were saying in the last podcast, like create the habits now, kind of be consistent and just stick at it, kind of like Dee was saying. You get halfway and that's kind of when things can kind of start falling apart. You lose motivation, and then if you can stick that out, get to the end, it's handy enough. You do your taper, you're away with it, kind of.
And then we all have Chloe's big post-marathon bash to look forward to. No pressure, Chloe, but we'll be coming to
I'm
you
not
for a
organising
venue.
that.
Yeah, we'll be coming to you for a venue. I'll make the phone calls, Chloe. I don't know if you're old enough to ring them, but I'll ring them for you. But it's been fantastic to have all your guys' stories. It's going to be a great journey that we're on together. I will be there with the clappers. I definitely won't be running. Sean might be though, so we'll have a few people. I'm fed up cheering Sean around the course, so it's nice to have 4 other people to talk about and cheer on. So it's going to be a great journey for all of us.
Yeah, very excited.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Cheers, thanks.
Correct you on that. It's not going to be fantastic. It's going to be incredible. And on that note, that is it for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. We'll be catching up with the Incredibles over the next couple of weeks. Keep an ear or an eye out for that. And that is it for myself, Dee, Chloe, Danny, Francis, and Eric. Take care.